Silence makes people reveal themselves. Most men think attraction is built through effort, through constant talking, explaining, chasing, proving. But what they don't realize is this: what pulls people closer is often what you don't do. There was a man named Daniel. He liked a woman deeply. Every day, he texted first. Every time she pulled away, he tried harder. He thought consistency would win her over. But slowly, she became distant. His effort, instead of attracting her, made him predictable, and eventually easy to ignore. One day, he stopped. Not out of anger. Not to play games. But because he realized something simple: he was trying to control something that wasn't his. For the first time, he focused on himself. His work. His discipline. His routine. He didn't disappear to punish her. He disappeared to rebuild himself. And that's when something shifted. She noticed. Because the first hidden truth is this: what is always available loses its value. People are drawn to what feels scarce. Not because they are shallow, but because scarcity signals importance. When your time and attention are given freely without boundaries, they are often taken for granted. Daniel didn't become cold. He became selective. And that changed everything. There was another man, Tund. He believed honesty meant saying everything on his mind. If he felt insecure, he expressed it. If he was unsure, he asked for reassurance. He thought vulnerability would deepen connection. But instead, it created imbalance. The woman he liked began to feel the pressure of constantly validating him. What started as connection slowly became emotional weight. Then Tund learned a Stoic principle. Control your emotions, or they will control your life. He didn't stop being human. He stopped being reactive. Instead of asking, "Do you still like me?" he asked himself, "Am I becoming a man worth liking?" Instead of seeking validation, he built confidence through action. And something interesting happened. She began to invest more. Because the second hidden truth is this: people value what they invest in, not what is given too easily. When someone has to earn your attention, they respect it more. When they feel they can lose you, they begin to see you clearly. There was a quiet man named Ibrahim. He wasn't the loudest. He didn't try to impress anyone. While others competed for attention, he stayed grounded. One day, a woman asked him, "Why are you so calm all the time?" He simply replied, "Because not everything deserves my reaction." That answer stayed with her. Because the third hidden truth is this: emotional control is rare, and rare things attract attention. Most people react instantly. They get angry, jealous, defensive. But a man who remains composed in chaos becomes magnetic. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. When Ibrahim faced disrespect, he didn't argue. He withdrew his presence. When he was ignored, he didn't chase. He redirected his focus. And that made people curious. Because calmness is power. There was also Musa. He used to prioritize everyone else before himself. If a woman needed him, he dropped everything. If she canceled plans, he adjusted his schedule. He thought sacrifice proved love. But slowly, he lost himself. His goals faded. His discipline weakened. And the same woman he tried to please began to lose interest. Not because she was cruel, but because deep down, people respect strength, not self-abandonment. One day, Musa changed. He started waking up early again. He trained his body. He focused on his purpose. He stopped rearranging his life for someone who hadn't earned that level of importance. And suddenly, her behavior changed. Because the fourth hidden truth is this: a man with purpose is more attractive than a man seeking approval. When your life has direction, people feel it. Your presence becomes stronger. Your energy becomes focused. You stop chasing and start choosing. There was a moment in Daniel's life where he almost went back to his old habits. He saw her online, posting, laughing, living her life. The urge to message her came back. But he paused. He remembered something. Not every feeling deserves action. So he stayed silent. Days passed. then weeks. And then, she reached out. Not because he begged. Not because he chased. But because his absence created space for her to feel his value. That is the fifth hidden truth. Silence creates reflection. When you're always present, people don't have time to miss you. But when you step back, they are forced to confront your absence. And in that space, emotions become clearer. There was another man, Emeka. He believed confidence meant being loud, dominant, and always in control. But deep down, he was insecure. Then he learned something different. True confidence is quiet. He stopped trying to prove himself. He stopped seeking attention. He focused on becoming competent, at work, in his habits, in his mindset. One day, a woman told him, "You don't try to impress anyone, and that's why you stand out." Because the sixth hidden truth is this. People are drawn to those who don't need validation. When you don't seek approval, your presence becomes authentic. And authenticity is rare. There was a final lesson Daniel learned. One evening, he met her again. This time, he was different. He didn't try to win her over. He didn't over-explain. He didn't seek anything. He simply enjoyed the moment. And for the first time, she leaned in. Because the seventh hidden truth is this. Detachment increases attraction. When you are okay with losing something, you stop acting out of fear. And when fear disappears, confidence appears. You speak freely. You act naturally. You become grounded. And that energy cannot be faked. Most men are taught to chase, to prove, to hold on tightly. But Stoicism teaches something different. Focus on what you can control, your mind, your actions, your discipline. Let go of what you cannot control, other people's feelings, reactions, and choices. Because in the end, the strongest position you can have is this. You are complete on your own. And when you reach that point, something changes. You stop trying to be chosen. And start becoming the man who chooses. Daniel thought he had learned everything. But life has a way of testing what you think you understand. Weeks after she reached out, things seemed different. She was warmer, more attentive, more present. For a moment, he felt the temptation to go back, to give more, to respond faster, to reattach himself emotionally. But he noticed something subtle. The moment he started leaning in too much, her energy shifted again. Not drastically. Just slightly. A delayed reply here. Less enthusiasm there. That's when another truth became clear to him. Attraction grows in space, not pressure. He didn't panic this time. He didn't overthink. He simply returned to balance. He responded when he wanted to, not out of obligation. He made time for her, but not at the cost of himself. He stayed grounded in his routine. And just like before, her energy aligned again. There was a man named Sadiq who struggled with overthinking. Every message, every tone, every small change in behavior became something to analyze. If she replied late, he assumed the worst. If she seemed distant, he tried to fix it immediately. His mind became his enemy. One day, an older friend told him something simple. If you have to guess how someone feels about you, step back. That stayed with him. So instead of reacting, Sadiq began observing. He stopped chasing clarity through questions and started watching actions. And what he saw changed everything. When he gave less attention, she gave more. When he stopped over-explaining, she became more curious. When he became less available, she became more intentional. Because the eighth hidden truth is this. Clarity comes from patterns, not words. People say many things. But what they do consistently reveals the truth. There was another man, Chinedu. He believed that being nice was enough. He avoided conflict. He agreed with everything. He never challenged anyone. He thought this would make him easy to love. But instead, he became invisible. One evening, during a conversation, a woman told him, "You're a good person, but I don't feel anything." That moment hit him hard. He realized something most men ignore. Respect comes before attraction. So he began to change. Not into someone aggressive, but into someone grounded. He started speaking his mind calmly. He disagreed when necessary. He set boundaries without anger. The next time he interacted with her, something shifted. She paid attention. Because the ninth hidden truth is this: people are drawn to those who stand for something. If you agree with everything, you stand for nothing. And if you stand for nothing, there is nothing to respect. There was also a quiet lesson Musa learned after rebuilding his life. He met someone new. This time, he approached things differently. He didn't rush. He didn't invest everything at once. He let things unfold naturally. One day, she asked him, "Why do you seem so unbothered?" He smiled slightly and said, "Because I don't try to control outcomes anymore." That answer confused her at first, but it drew her in. Because the 10th hidden truth is this: detachment is not indifference, it is strength. It means you care, but not to the point of losing yourself. It means you invest, but not blindly. It means you give, but not at the cost of your peace. And that balance creates stability, something many people subconsciously seek. There was a time when Emeka faced a real test. A woman he had grown close to suddenly pulled away. No explanation. No warning. Just distance. The old version of him would have reacted instantly: calls, messages, questions. But this time, he did nothing. Not because he didn't care, but because he respected himself enough to not chase confusion. Days turned into silence. Then weeks. Eventually, she returned with an explanation. "I needed space," she said. "I didn't expect you to just let me go like that." Emeka simply replied, "I don't hold on to things that are unsure." That moment changed how she saw him. Because the 11th hidden truth is this: walking away from uncertainty increases your value. When you tolerate confusion, you lower your standards. When you accept inconsistency, you teach people how to treat you. But when you step back, you create a boundary, and boundaries build respect. Daniel's journey continued with one final realization. He noticed that the more he focused on improving himself, not for anyone else, but for his own growth, the less he worried about outcomes. His confidence wasn't based on someone's attention anymore. It came from within. He no longer needed constant communication to feel secure. He no longer feared losing someone. He no longer tried to control how he was perceived. And ironically, that's when people became more drawn to him. Because the 12th hidden truth is this: when you stop needing people, they start noticing you. Not because they are playing games, but because independence is powerful. It signals that your happiness is self-created, not dependent. There was one last encounter that defined everything he had learned. He sat across from her, calm, composed, fully present. No overthinking. No pressure. No need to impress. Just clarity. She looked at him differently this time, not as someone trying to win her, but as someone who had already won himself. And that changed everything. Because in the end, the real secret was never about controlling anyone. It was about mastering yourself. Most people will never admit these things openly. They won't say they are drawn to mystery, to discipline, to emotional control, to independence. But their actions will always reveal it. Not because they are hiding something, but because these things operate on a deeper level, beyond words. So instead of trying to understand every reaction, every message, every signal, focus on this. Build a life that doesn't revolve around anyone else. Control your emotions, instead of being controlled by them. Value your time, so others learn to value it too. Speak less, observe more. Care, but never at the cost of yourself. Because the moment you become centered, disciplined, and self-sufficient, you stop chasing attention and start attracting it naturally. Daniel reached a point where things became quiet. No confusion. No emotional highs and lows. No constant need to check his phone. Just clarity. At first, it felt unfamiliar. Almost boring. Because he had spent so much time in emotional chaos that peace felt strange. But then he understood something deeper. Peace is not emptiness. It is control. He no longer needed constant stimulation from conversations. He no longer depended on attention to feel important. His life had structure, work, discipline, purpose. And that foundation made him steady. There was a man named Connell who struggled with impatience. The moment he liked someone, he wanted progress. He wanted labels, consistency, reassurance, all at once. If things didn't move fast, he felt like he was wasting time. But that urgency always backfired. People felt rushed, pressured, and eventually, they pulled away. One day, he changed his approach. He slowed everything down. He allowed conversations to breathe. He allowed time to reveal intentions. He stopped forcing outcomes. And something surprising happened. Connections became stronger. Because the 13th hidden truth is this: what is rushed feels forced. What is natural lasts longer. Time exposes everything: intentions, consistency, character. And patience allows you to see clearly. There was also a man named Femi who feared losing people. So he held on tightly. He overgave. Over-explained. Overcompensated. He believed if he just did enough, he could prevent someone from leaving. But the more he tried to hold on, the more things slipped away. Until one day, he faced a simple realization. You cannot keep someone by losing yourself. So he stopped trying to secure people through effort alone. He focused on becoming someone grounded, someone who could walk away if needed. And that changed his energy completely. Because the 14th hidden truth is this: security comes from self-respect, not control. When you respect yourself, you don't beg for consistency, you expect it. You don't chase clarity, you require it. And that standard shifts everything. There was a quiet observer named Bello. He rarely spoke, but he noticed everything. He realized that most people reveal their intentions in small moments. The way they respond, the effort they give, the consistency they show. So instead of asking questions, he watched patterns. When someone was inconsistent, he didn't argue. He adjusted his investment. When someone showed effort, he matched it, but never exceeded it. Because he understood something powerful. Balance creates stability. And that became the 15th hidden truth. Match energy, don't overextend it. Overgiving creates imbalance. Undergiving creates distance. But matching energy creates mutual respect. There was a turning point in Daniel's mindset when he stopped seeing things as wins or losses. Before, if something didn't work out, he saw it as failure. Now, he saw it as information. If someone lost interest, it simply meant they weren't aligned. If communication faded, it revealed a lack of intention. No drama. No overthinking. Just clarity. Because the 16th hidden truth is this: rejection is not loss, it is direction. Every situation that doesn't work saves you time, energy, and emotional investment. But only if you accept it quickly and move forward. There was another man, Sola, who learned the power of silence in a different way. During an argument, instead of reacting immediately, he paused. He listened. He observed. He chose his words carefully. And something unexpected happened. The tension reduced. Because his calmness controlled the situation. That's when he realized. The person who controls their reaction controls the outcome. This became the 17th hidden truth. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Not every situation needs a response. Not every comment deserves your energy. Sometimes, the strongest move is restraint. Musa experienced something similar. A woman he was interested in tried to test him, delayed responses, mixed signals, small games. The old version of him would have played along, trying to win her attention. But this time, he didn't engage. He stayed consistent, but not reactive. And when the behavior continued, he simply stepped back. No explanation. No confrontation. Just distance. Because he understood something clearly. You don't compete for attention, you withdraw from inconsistency. That became the 18th hidden truth. Walking away is more powerful than trying to win. When you remove yourself from situations that don't align with your standards, you protect your peace. And that protection is power. Daniel's final transformation came when he stopped focusing on what works on others and started focusing on what works for himself. He realized that all these principles, silence, discipline, detachment, patience, were not tools to influence people. They were tools to build strength. And strength changes everything. Because when you are strong mentally, emotionally, and physically, you don't need tactics. Your presence becomes enough. There was one last moment that defined everything. He was alone, sitting in silence, reflecting on his journey. No distractions. No noise. And for the first time, he felt complete. Not because someone chose him, but because he chose himself. That is the final hidden truth. Self-mastery is the real attraction. Everything else, attention, validation, approval, is temporary. But discipline, control, and purpose, those last. Most people will continue chasing what they don't understand. They will try harder, give more, explain more, thinking effort alone creates connection. But those who understand these principles move differently. They are calm, focused, grounded. They don't force outcomes. They allow things to reveal themselves. So if there is one thing to take from all this, it is simple. Work on yourself more than you work on being liked. Because the moment you become solid within, everything outside begins to change. Daniel's growth didn't stop when things became calm. In fact, that's when the deeper work began. Because it's easy to act disciplined when things are uncertain. But it's much harder to stay disciplined when things start going your way. There was a moment when attention came back into his life, messages, interest, opportunities. The same things he once chased were now coming to him naturally. And for a second, he felt the urge to indulge in it. To reply instantly. To give more than necessary. To fall back into old habits. But he caught himself. Because he had learned something most people ignore. Success tests you more than struggle ever will. That became the 19th hidden truth. What you attract can weaken you if you lack discipline. So he stayed grounded. He didn't let attention inflate his ego. He didn't let interest distract his focus. He treated success the same way he treated struggle, with control. There was a man named Delhi who believed that once someone showed interest, the work was done. He became comfortable, predictable, less intentional. Slowly, the energy faded. Not because something went wrong, but because nothing continued to grow. That's when he realized. Attraction is not something you gain once, it's something you maintain. This became the 20th hidden truth. Consistency builds attraction, but growth sustains it. So he improved continuously. His mindset, his habits, his communication, everything became sharper. And that made his presence dynamic, not static. There was another lesson Daniel learned through observation. He noticed that many people say they want honesty, but react negatively when they receive it. So instead of being brutally honest without awareness, he became calmly truthful. He spoke with clarity, but without aggression. He expressed himself, but without emotional chaos. And that made his words more effective. Because the 21st hidden truth is this. How you say something matters more than what you say. Delivery shapes perception. And perception shapes response. There was a man named Uche who struggled with boundaries. He knew what he didn't like, but he allowed it anyway, just to keep the peace. Over time, that created silent resentment. Until one day, he decided to change. The next time someone crossed a line, he addressed it calmly. No anger. No emotion. Just clarity. If this continues, I'll step back. Simple. And that changed everything. Because the 22nd hidden truth is this. Boundaries are respected when they are enforced. Not explained repeatedly. Not negotiated endlessly. Enforced. Musa faced a different kind of challenge. He met someone who matched his energy, consistent, intentional, respectful. At first, he was cautious. He expected inconsistency, because that's what he was used to. But over time, he realized something important. Not everyone needs to be figured out. Some people are simply aligned. Because the 23rd hidden truth is this: when it's right, it feels stable, not confusing. No games. No guessing. No emotional chaos. Just mutual effort and clarity. Daniel's mindset reached another level when he stopped trying to be perfect. He understood that mistakes would happen. Miscommunication would occur. Not every moment would be ideal. But instead of overcorrecting, he stayed centered. Because he had learned. Perfection is not attractive, authenticity is. That became the 24th hidden truth. People connect with what is real, not what is flawless. When you are genuine, your presence becomes natural. And natural always feels better than forced. There was a quiet shift in how he viewed time. Before, he saw time as something to spend, endless conversations, constant attention, overinvestment. Now, he saw time as something to protect. He gave it to people who earned it. He withdrew it from situations that didn't align. Because he understood something deeply. Your time is your life. That became the 25th hidden truth. What you give your time to grows. Choose wisely. There was a man named Ao who always tried to fix situations. If something felt off, he rushed to correct it. If communication dropped, he tried to revive it. He believed effort could solve everything. But over time, he realized something difficult. Not everything is meant to be fixed. Some things are meant to end. That became the 26th hidden truth. Acceptance is more powerful than resistance. When something isn't working, forcing it only drains you. But accepting it frees you. Daniel's final stage wasn't about learning more. It was about becoming consistent with everything he had learned. Because knowledge without action changes nothing. He built routines. He protected his mindset. He stayed disciplined, even when no one was watching. And that created something rare. Stability. There was one last realization that brought everything together. He no longer asked, "What works on others?" Instead, he asked, "Am I living in a way that reflects strength, clarity, and self-respect?" Because in the end, that's what truly matters. This is the final hidden truth. The way you live determines what you attract. Not tricks. Not tactics. Not temporary strategies. But your mindset. Your habits. Your standards. Most people will continue looking for shortcuts. But there are none. There is only discipline. Awareness. Control. And the willingness to walk your own path, even when it's quiet. If you've understood this far, then you already see what most people miss. This isn't about anyone else. It never was. Subscribe to Inner Steel for more insights that sharpen your mindset, strengthen your discipline, and separate you from the average. Because real power is quiet and rare.